Nobody buys music anymore. This is a very common thing you're going to hear a lot if you're a musician. This conversation comes up all the time. I got the comment on a video I made not long ago about explaining how you're never too old to make music. Somebody wrote, nobody's buying music anymore, though, short of a few old school minded folks. The first thing I want to talk about with this comment is it's a fine comment because everyone's going to talk about this, but this is the same kind of conversation as saying to yourself, way back when horse and buggy dominated the travel industry, when automobiles came along, all of a sudden now, horse and buggies were much harder to sell and people didn't buy them, but people are still traveling. So this is the same, you could relate this to now. The horse and buggy people who were making horse and buggies had to pivot into something that was currently going on if they intended to stay in the game of travel. They had to. They couldn't keep selling their horse and buggies because only a few people would be buying them once everyone switched over to automobiles. Now, this, as a general rule, is what you do in any industry that changes. Change is never comfortable, but it's inevitable. It always happens. After a certain amount of time, things don't stay the same. The same thing happened with newspapers. People are reading the news, buying physical papers and magazines. This was all over the place. People had magazines. Then, all of a sudden, all the news and all the magazines is now online. Nobody's buying newspapers or magazines. Cable TV. It's the same thing. People are still getting their news. They're getting their stuff. They're watching something, but they're not watching cable TV. Just like they're not reading newspapers, just like they're not buying magazines. So does it stink for the people that are doing those things, like manufacturing magazines? Yes. But the people of the masses are still consuming that the stuff that's within it, just not in that medium anymore. There's a slight change. You must pivot. So what we're doing, and I think the reason so many people hate the times of today is really because they don't want to learn new things and they don't want to change their definition of what a musician is. In their mind, a musician is someone who has mystery built around them. They just do music. They don't do anything else. When in reality, the way you must pivot today is you cannot just be someone who makes music and puts out music. You must be someone who is showing all sides of themselves. The mystery disappears because this is not something that people who are unknown only do. People who are known, like Charlie Puth, for example, makes tons of content. You get to see more of him than you ever could have if this was 30 years ago. But that doesn't hurt his brand. It's just he's pivoting with today, what you have to do today in order to be in order to get the same comparable results. So that's where I say that it doesn't really matter that we're not selling music. Would it be better if we could sell the music? Yes. But what we are really selling today is entertainment still. We're still selling something that either elicits emotions or entertains people or does something. That's really why the more creative you are, and creativity has always been the anchoring theme of musicians. It's how creative can you be, which allows you to craft something that other people relate to, connect to, is a turn of phrase on something everyone says, is a very common, if you notice, the people that are the most creative musicians, you can navigate these new waters more easily. You just don't get caught in thinking that you can do it the old way. Don't get caught there. Yes, I'm aware that when you sell CDs or records, like the record markup, the amount you make on selling a record is much more. But just like we've been talking about, the majority of the people aren't buying them today. Could you still sell them and maybe it makes up for itself and maybe it breaks even or does a little better? Maybe. But the point is, you don't want to keep building horse and buggies when everyone's driving automobiles. Why would you want to be in that business? So the point is, don't think like you need to rely on that business model of selling music. Sure, years ago, there was so much more money in music when people had to buy the CDs and stuff. Yes, but there's still money there. It just doesn't go to that place. Now it's the people who want to see you, who buy your merch. And if you think about it like this, you could look at it positive or negative. Every single thing about today compared to yesterday. For example, today, there's no gatekeepers of who you are, like of your image, of who your band is, of what you're allowed to sell, of what you're allowed to say, of what you're allowed to make, post. There's no gatekeepers anymore. You are your own gatekeeper. You decide how much you put out or how little you put out. You decide how creative it is. You decide the topics you want to focus on, the videos you want to make. You decide all of it. So it's not a bad thing that now anyone who has the will and desire can do it. It's not bad. But what it means is you actually have to do more than you might have thought you had to do years ago. That's the only disconnect here. Everyone's upset that they can't still make horse and buggies. Every time I hear people complain about that they can't sell music, I think to myself, why keep complaining about something that's not going to change? The world doesn't go backwards to selling horse and buggies when we have a better alternative. And I'm not saying it's better all the like necessarily, but the fact that we can listen to anything we want now, you know, there's when I want to hear a song, that's better than having to get in my car, for example, drive to the store, buy it. Like, it's better now that I don't have to do that. From a convenience perspective, it's better. But is it worse that everyone values music less because there's no investment now? You know, years ago, I remember it like it was yesterday, friends of mine would listen to CDs like together as a group. Like, we would hang out and listen to music and be doing other stuff, whatever. But the music would be on in the background, and it'd be like a big part of the conversation. Almost would be, oh, listen to this song. Oh, that's cool. Like this new record. That, like, I remember when Californication came out, and I listened to it a lot with the people I was with. We would be no matter where we went, we would bring the CD player with that. And I just remember like instantly connecting with it. But that was also because you didn't have the ability to just put on anything you decided on off a random, just instantly beam it out of the sky. Times were different, but there's no point in complaining about what you don't have and where you could be that you're not. Stop complaining about it. All you need to do is change with the times. So what I would venture to say is you don't have to be a great actor, for example. Because if you are somebody who's not a great actor, maybe your lack of skills is actually more fun for people to watch than the fact that you're good. Maybe that's the case. So in other words, you put a video together and it might be so bad it's good. Who cares if you get the attention that you're looking to get so that people listen to what you have to offer? In other words, you could look at everything both ways, negative or positive. What if the way you put skits together, you don't know how to film stuff right. So you're filming it all messed up, and it actually looks more interesting because it's all messed up. It doesn't have to be, a professional, David Lynch movie. Maybe it just looks cool. Maybe that's the reason why you like it more. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the reason you're holding back? You're scared. You don't think you know it. You don't want to learn it. You're lazy. You don't want to keep looking for the thing you don't know so that you can achieve what you're looking to achieve. But what I'm basically telling you is every step along the way, you don't know where you'll find your niche that you fit in for your style of what you want to bring to people. And a lot of people, in just trying things, you figure it out. You don't need to know everything going in. That's a huge thing, is people think, oh, I can't put this out. It's not funny. Maybe it's actually so bad it swings around the other side and becomes funny. You understand? Like, you don't really know. Maybe you trying to be serious is actually hilarious. So you think your serious thing, oh, I didn't say what I wanted to say. Maybe that's better. Like, what makes you think that you, first of all, can control the narrative? You can't. And you don't want to either, because you just want to be doing. If you're doing enough, and you're outside your comfort zone enough, something will go in a direction where then you can take your cue from that and see where else to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, Corey Feldman comes to mind. So bad it's good. And if you watch Justin Hawkins, he actually has a great video where he's talking about Corey Feldman, and he is convinced in his video that it's an act. He's convinced. A lot of people know or don't think it's an act, right? But the point is, either way, it's entertaining to watch. So what I'm saying is, don't be so scared. At the end of the day, who cares about opinions. Who cares about who likes what? All that you should care about is doing something that you want. And if what you want is to achieve people listening to your stuff, then however you can get there, the better. So why not be less scared, put more stuff out, stop being afraid to do the things you don't know how to do. It might turn out better for you. It can't turn out worse than you not doing anything. Stop being so afraid to embarrass yourselves. It's the same reason like people wouldn't go up to cave when they were cavemen. They didn't want to talk to somebody because they were afraid they'd be alienated, and then they wouldn't be a part of the tribe, and then their bloodline would die off forever. What are we scared of today? What is the fear? Everything? Maybe, but don't let it be. The point is, why would you let it be? Just do things. The weirder it is, I venture to say, the better it is. Because people are used to seeing people trying to be cool. Don't try to be cool. Be you. People are used to seeing people make stuff that has some resemblance of like being correct or right, or the way it should be shot, or the way it should sound, or the way the normal stuff. Don't do that. Be messed up. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to just horribly mess up what you're doing. And don't hold it back. Because that's another thing. So many people have so much more that they could put out, that they could give, that they would have the ability to put out stuff consistently, and they'd have the ability to find like whatever it is that they wanted, that the way to do stuff that makes sense for them. They'd be able to find it if they simply just let go of the idea that they need to control everything, and they just put it out. Doesn't matter if you mess up. It doesn't matter if it looks horrible. It doesn't matter if you embarrass yourself. I'm telling you, it's not as bad as you think. You're not gonna die from it. Okay? Keep this stuff in mind. I hope you appreciate it. I hope to get something from it, because anybody who can just get rid of some inhibitions is doing way, way better. You'll build towards being able to get rid of all of them and just be totally free. So get there. I hope you dug it. Hit the subscribe button. Evan Jaffe, Custom Cut Studios. You guys got this. Throw a comment in there. I appreciate it. Take it easy.